Hello everyone, welcome to Bebop Mondays episode 17. And today's episode is about playing blues in a jazz context using pentatonic scales versus using the blues forms that I have developed. So is it possible to sound bluesy using the minor pentatonic scales? Of course it is. The problem is though that usually when you learn the pentatonic scales and you start improvising with them to play bluesy lines, you are most likely going to end up sounding like you're playing the pentatonic scale up and down. Even when you learn them in all 5 forms, you're still gonna sound like you're playing one of those 5 forms up and down. So to make them sound more appealing, you're still gonna have to dive into learning specific phrases that are located in those forms. But to me that is double work, right? So I have developed some blues forms based on transcription that I think will get you there much faster. So let's look at a pentatonic scale form. We're going to the key of F, so you probably know this form, it's the first form. That's maybe the first thing that a guitar player will learn when they start thinking about playing solos. So when you have to improvise with that, you're probably gonna sound something like something like that, right? Even if you play it in another form, let's say you play it in the third form, right? It's still kind of the scale up and down. Now, that is not to say that you couldn't get a good result, but it's gonna take a while. So compare that to something that sounds like this. That sounds quite different. It sounds, to my ears, much more bluesy, much more tasteful. And it's not necessarily based on those shapes. Of course, there's pentatonic scales in it, but I'm thinking of different shapes. So what I did is I transcribed lots of stuff from a guitar player called Ulf Wakenius, and I made several videos about him. I will link one such video in the description. And I showed you some of the licks that he plays, but now I went a step further and I started analyzing the licks and putting them in blues forms. I think I'm gonna call them Wakenius van Hemert blues forms, right? Because they originate with Ulf Wakenius playing, but I suspect he probably didn't codify it. That's what I did now. So this is probably gonna be 3 videos. We're gonna look at 1 or 2 forms per video, and then you should have a nice overview of those forms covering the entire neck. And today we're going to start with what I call position 3A. So position 3A means that they are located around the 3rd of the chord on the high E string. So we're talking about the key of F. The 3rd of F is A. So my hand is in this spot on the neck. So it's in the middle of the neck. That's why I'm starting there. The first form, I wrote them down in red notes. So what I did is I have a form in red notes, position 3A, right? So it's position 3, it's a 3rd, and this is position A because I also have position 3B. And then I gave you 2 phrases that you could come up with from this position. Those are 2 phrases that I transcribed from Ulf Wakenius that he played in the solo. So the first position sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the things that are important is that slide to the C. That's very important. Right, it's a slide over 2 frets. And then this, you can play either sliding or you could do hammer-on pull-off. And then the last note you can slide or also hammer-on. That's the first form. Now let's look at a phrase that uses this form and then use it in a song. So here we have the first phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So compared to the form, I'm skipping the A flat. I'm going straight from the F to the C with the slide. And then I'm going back. Now let's play that in a song. Of course you can play it in a blues, but I'm gonna play it on a standard. And I've chosen Honeysuckle Rose because it has 4 bars of F. Because you can play these kinds of licks mainly on the 1 chord of a song and the 5 chord. When it resolves back to a 1 chord. So in the case of Honeysuckle Rose, we have 4 bars of C7. So I could start playing it in maybe the 4th bar of C7 resolving to F. And you can usually also play it on the 4 chord. But there's no 4 chord in Honeysuckle Rose. So I'm going to play it in the first 2 A's. In the bridge, it's a 2-5-1 to B flat. I'll improvise something there. And then in the 3rd A, again, I can play this phrase. And I'll try to be a little bit free with the phrase. Then you will notice that I mainly use notes from this form. A very simple phrase that is very effective, sounds great. And as you can see, if you compare this to a F minor pentatonic scale, it has some things that you can find in that scale, like, right, that slide from the B flat to the C flat or from B flat to B, and also ending on a major third. Let's look at another phrase. So this one sounds like this: 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. So it starts with the form, then it goes back, jumps straight to the C, goes up at the form, goes down. That's just an ending based again on that major third. Very easy to vary this. So let's play this in the solo, and maybe I'll use both forms. They're pretty similar, right? The first one and the second one. It's like some kind of extension of the first one. Okay, let's look at form 3B. Form 3B or position 3B. By the way, if you want to download these steps, you can download them from my Patreon. There's a link to that in the description, and at the end of this series I will make a big PDF also available for patrons. And this one sounds like this: 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. It's almost two forms, right? You have this part. Again, you can slide or hammer on, pull off. And then you have this, which is just a basic pentatonic scale ending on the major third. But playing it in this position gives you some possibilities. It's very easy to play triplets here. That sounds very good. And you have this thing, which connects to the other form, right? So that's how you can connect those forms. But don't worry about that now, just practice this form a couple of times and then let's look at the two phrases. So this is the first phrase, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. So I am in the second bar, I'm playing so with a slide. You can also do a hammer on. Let's play this on the backing track. And the last lick. So this introduces some double stops into that position 3B, which is a great position to play the double stops. And the double stops are located here and here. It's basically the minor third and the fifth together, and the third and the seventh together. And this phrase sounds like this: 3, 4, 1. Three, 4, 1. I see now that there is a mistake in the tab. I will fix that for the Patreon download. So it does a couple of things to that initial form. It adds those two double stops. Then it adds this kind of trick, where you play two Fs on the B and the G string. You can do that. That's just a nice effect. And then it plays that scale down. It adds this C flat. You can slide to it. But if it's really fast, you can also just put a fourth finger on it. Let's play that phrase with the backing track. Maybe first chorus I'll play with this phrase, and second chorus I'm gonna use some of the other ideas as well. In the end, you can be very free, right? You can use these licks as a starting off point, but then combine them with stuff that you'll find in the shapes. And there's much more to explore. Next video, I will talk about some of the other positions, and then there will be a third video, and then you'll have an overview of the entire neck, and you will sound like a true bluesy jazz player, which is what a lot of guitar players are searching for. So I think this is a good solution. Hopefully I will see you next week in the next video or in any of my other videos. If you like the videos, please like, subscribe, press the bell icon, join my Patreon if you want to download the tabs. We'll see you soon. Bye.